Greetings NYSORA Nation. In this short video we have packed 5 great tips on how to secure an IV access in difficult patients from NYSORA's best-selling Manual of IV Access. We will first talk about why it is important to be able to assume a low angle of needle insertion. Then we will discuss the life-saving reverse Esmarch technique that we featured in our YouTube video that went viral with 2 million views. In tip number 3, we will describe the value of using warm towels to increase the size of the veins in patients who are vasoconstricted or frightened. Tip number 4 will demonstrate why you should consider bending your catheters and how to do it. And in the last tip, I will try to convince you to leave the failed catheters in place without releasing the tourniquet to expedite vein cannulation and avoid formation of the hematoma. Let's get started. Let's start with a demonstration of why it is so important to assume a low angle of needle insertion. In tip number 2, we will demonstrate the step-by-step application of the reverse Esmarch. So we're going to demonstrate how we can actually find some good veins. Here we go, some attempts people have tried in patients who don't have great veins. So this is called reverse Esmarch technique. So we start from here. You already see one vein over here that we can use. I can see it right there. So we want to progressively squeeze as you go more distally to squeeze out the blood towards the periphery. And as we do this, we're going to come up with the veins that no one was able to see before. There we go. Good. Okay, maybe I was wrong about that. But now we have at least one vein. We're going to be just a little bit more patient, and we're going to get a few more veins in no time. Be sure to see the rest of our videos on the effectiveness of the reverse Esmarch technique in NYSORA's Manual of Difficult IV Access. Let's see the technique of application of the warm towels to vasodilate the superficial veins and make them more visible and easier to cannulate. So if the veins are not very prominent, here's a couple of things that you can actually do. The first thing you could do is you can apply hot towel, very warm towel, around the arm. Application of a hot towel around the arm on all sides allows you to warm up the hand and the arm, which increases the blood flow and the vasodilation. And if you keep that for about 5 minutes or so, invariably you're going to see increase in the blood flow and enhancement in the veins. You can also wet the towel with hot water and wrap it around. One other trick that you can do is you can also warm up the IV bags and apply them around the patient's hand. And again, when they're really warm, there goes intense vasodilation, and the vasodilation helps you pick up the veins that otherwise you could not see, particularly in a patient who is very frightened or vasospastic. This is one of our most useful tips, particularly in patients in whom it is difficult to assume a low angle of needle insertion. Bending the needle allows you to lift the needle tip up and keep it in the lumen of the vein as you advance in the catheter instead of going through the vein. Consistent to what we normally do, we bend that catheter slightly to allow us to assume very low angle. The joints in here. So I'll tap a couple more times. Here we go. I will extend. There we go. So we are in the vein now. And then we can actually feed that catheter inside. Slow. Everyone can fail at IV cannulation, but the pros do not remove the failed catheters, and they do not release the tourniquet after failure. Instead, they leave the tourniquet on to allow the veins to continue growing in size due to prevention of venous return, and they leave the catheter in situ to prevent hematoma. Releasing the tourniquet after a failed attempt would waste the time invested in enlarging the veins. So let's watch the clinical demonstration of how this short but extremely useful tip works. After a failed attempt, resist the urge to pull out the catheter immediately. Leaving the catheter in place can prevent hematoma formation like a plug inside the vein, making subsequent attempts much easier. But if you remove that IV, you can remove the needle, but leave the catheter in as a plug inside the vein, because if you remove it, you're most likely going to get hematoma immediately, which will disrupt your next subsequent attempted IV cannulation. And that was it for this week's episode on IV tips from NYSORA's best-selling Manual of IV Access, a revolutionary book on Amazon.com that comes with videos, demonstrations of techniques being taught. Be sure to get your copy at the link below. And if these videos are useful to you and your colleagues, be sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss the new ones. Greetings from NYSORA.